Hey everyone, super excited to bring you another incredible training from our Friday Connect training series. For those of you that are new to the channel, we host these every single Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern, completely for free. Now, if you're interested in joining one of these calls, just click the link that's in the top of the description. It's also in the pinned comment. That'll take you over to our Facebook group where you can see all the upcoming calls, all the upcoming topics, and even leave some suggestions for something you want to see us cover in the future. With all that being said, let's just get right into the training.
Our topic today is how to generate free leads with TikTok, featuring Ken Aswitz. And he's an agent in our group. And TikTok, as you guys know, is the most popular app right now in the world. People are growing organic following and generating real local clients for free by leveraging this platform. And no, we're not talking about you doing silly dance videos. So today we're going to be talking about some real strategy that you can put to work and really how to implement this and to become a go-to agent in your market space, in your community, and become that top of mind local real estate agent expert. And this is a really big opportunity right now on social media. And this is why we brought on Ken and to share his own experience, because in the last little over a year, or a little less than a year actually, Ken grew his his TikTok channel over 37,000 followers in less than a year as a new agent. So that's really impressive. And we have a ton of questions for you, Ken, and we're going to be asking you. And to kind of properly introduce Ken, he is a retired firefighter. He did not have any experience on TikTok. So anybody can do this. This is amazing. And he's also a real estate agent with eXp Realty. He's one of our agents in our group, and he's based in Cape Coral, Florida. So we're super excited to have you here, Ken. And so for all of you listening, please keep your mic on mute at the moment. And if you have any questions, please keep it to the end. We're going to have a Q&A sessions where we're happy to let all of you ask Ken your questions. Kyle and I have a bunch of questions we want to ask you, but first and foremost, I actually want to share my screen and put a little context to what I'm talking about. So this is Ken's channel. I'm not logged in because I'm on my computer, but I'll show you a couple of videos just to send home the message of the type of content and the quality of work that Ken is creating on TikTok, and to show all of you what you can do as well. Watch some of this.
More real estate deals than almost anything else. This thing will put buyers, sellers, and agents into a state of anxiety, but it doesn't have to be that way. I'm going to tell you how to avoid it. It's the home inspection. Everybody hates the home inspection because you just don't know what kind of unexpected bombs it's going to drop on you at the last minute. The home inspection can be a source of contention between buyers and sellers and even agents, but it doesn't have to be that way. So what can you do as the seller to help alleviate some of these problems? It's the pre-listing inspection. So what's the difference between a pre-listing inspection and a home inspection? Well, basically, it's who pays for it. In a home inspection, it's usually the buyer that's paying for the inspection. And that's when you get these unknown problems that get dropped in your lap. But in a pre-listing inspection, it's usually the seller that's coming up with the money beforehand, so they can be aware of any problems that they might be able to fix before the house actually makes it to the market. Now, if you've got a newer house and you're the only owner, it may not be necessary to do a pre-listing inspection. But if you've been living in a house for a lot of years and there's been several owners, a pre-listing inspection is almost a must. The pre-listing inspection isn't about finding loose toilets and squeaky doorknobs. This is about finding those hidden problems that you didn't know were there, so you can address those before the house goes on the market. And that way you'll have a smoother transaction in the end. So talk with your real estate professional about whether you need a pre-listing inspection. That's it, guys. Hit the plus sign. We'll see you next time.
And then and there's another one that I wanted to share with you as well.
If you're seeing this before March 1st, 2022, then pay attention, because this information is going to change. What does it cost to live in Cape Coral, Florida? You guys asked for it. I'm going to tell you. This is the most up-to-date information you're going to find anywhere, because I just ran it this morning. Let's check it out. Okay, before we go, if you guys are enjoying this Florida geography kind of stuff, hit that plus sign, leave a comment, let me know that you're enjoying it. Okay, here we go. Median home price for all of Cape Coral, $393,000. That's all of Cape Coral, the median. Median waterfront pricing, $610,000 all over Cape Coral. That is the median price. And median off-water pricing is $348,000. All right, so that is it. That is the most up-to-date pricing you're going to get on the internet anywhere. You got it right here. Hit that plus sign, and we'll see you next time. If you're seeing...
And then I love the mix of informative content. And then you share something like this about your community. And then I love the next video that I'm going to show, which is in response to this one, which is, again, the way that you are relating to people that are following you. So, and we'll talk about this in a second.
Make it a point to visit the Blue Dog Bar and Grill on Matt Lachey. Let's check it out. This is the Blue Dog Bar and Grill in Matt Lachey, Florida. Well known to the locals and visitors alike, this place has the freshest seafood you're going to find, all locally caught and prepared just for you. They've got the local craft beers and all the stuff you want. The atmosphere is super friendly with a local vibe you're going to love. Make sure you try out the mullet fish dip and the Matt Lachey Vice soup while you are here. Make sure you check them out and make sure you tell them you found them right here on my TikTok. Hit the plus sign. We'll see you next time.
And then this is the last one before we jump into question. And I love a little bit of just a tad bit of entertainment, again, trying to relate and speak to your audience, which is awesome.
Yeah, good question. When you're new around here and you don't know how to pronounce Matt Lachey, it looks a lot like Matt Laca or Matt Lacha, but it is Matt Lachey. Yeah, good question.
Yeah. So anyway, so I just wanted to just put a little sprinkle of type of the content that you're producing so people can have some context. So first and foremost, Ken, why did you get started on TikTok? Why TikTok?
Good question. And thanks for having me here today. As always, it's always my pleasure to do these with you. Excuse me. I got started on TikTok almost by accident. I really didn't have any knowledge of TikTok. I mean, I knew it was out there, but it wasn't something that I had my sights on. I think my daughter may have showed me, something, on the app, and I downloaded it. And I just kind of, as you do, just start scrolling through, and I saw some realtors, and I was like, oh, there's realtors on here. So I started following the realtors, and that's when I kind of thought, hey, maybe there's something to this. Let me try and see if maybe I can put something together. So in the beginning, I just started doing really lousy videos and not real focused stuff, just to kind of learn the app, figure out the platform, and decide how I wanted to kind of focus my content, if I was going to do this at all. And that's kind of how it started. And I made some videos just kind of feeling out the app and seeing what people liked and what wasn't going anywhere. And what I learned was that people seemed to really like the stuff that I was doing about my local geography. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where I took the focus of the content. I do some other stuff too, but that's really what people seem. That's what really gets me the most views and the most likes.
Awesome. And of course, a lot of people, like you mentioned, realtors are on TikTok and they're producing content very much like yours, some of them, but you've had success unlike a lot of other realtors. So what were you doing differently? I know you talked a little bit about the geography, but your content is, I got to know a little more about you, the area that you live in, that you have a boat, you have this house, that you're a firefighter. You talk a little bit about you and lots of different things. And somewhere, like I said, it's informative, entertaining. So what were some of the things that you were doing differently than some of the other realtors that aren't having the type of success that you are?
Well, and I figured this stuff out slowly. I do research. I look at other people's stuff. I see what's working and what's not working, and I read, and I just try to find out the best practices for each platform. And I learned that, we all know in this business, people do business with people that they know, like, and trust, and that is a big part of why we're on social media to begin with. We want people to see our faces, to hear our voices, and to get familiar with us. And that is eventually where leads will come from, because they know you. Look, think about it like this. When you're watching YouTube and you find a YouTube channel or a creator that you like, you feel over time like you get to know them, you know who they are. They have no idea who you are, but you feel like you have a connection there because you like their content and you see their face and hear their voice. And that is the connection that you're searching for, whether it's on TikTok or any other social platform, is to get people to become familiar and comfortable with you. And I figured if I'm just walking through houses doing, and this is the mistake that a lot of people make, is they do a house tour, they don't put their face on camera, they walk through a house, and they might have their voice in the background. But that's not letting people connect with you. That's just showing an object, a house. And that's only going to get you so far. You have to put yourself out there, and it's uncomfortable. in the beginning. It's always it's still uncomfortable. It gets easier, but you're still always a little self-conscious about putting yourself out there. And that's the most important part of doing this, is getting yourself out there, letting people get to know who you are.
Yeah. And, this is the thing about this business, right? A lot of us, because we're time crunch, money, limited to funds, we often try something and we quickly make that assumption that it's not going to work. And we often don't let the algorithm work for us, the audience grow, people interact with you. And you hit a really important point there, is people need to learn to know you better and consume your content and like you. And I love that you have very similar people always interacting with your content. That means you're creating this fan base almost, right? And you were able to do that because you stuck with the time, right? You didn't just do two videos and you quit. You stuck around this and you really started. When was that time you started seeing that peak in the year? Really, I know we connected maybe 6-7 months into you doing this, and you were already lead generating on this on a weekly basis. When was that time when you felt the peak? So I just want people, especially newer agents or people who want to get started on TikTok, to have that idea that you need to stick with this. This is not a overnight process.
Yeah, it was probably a couple of months in by that time until I realized where I was taking the channel in that geographical information. And that particular portion of my channel, the geography, that's the video that's my highest performing video. Right now it's got, surprisingly enough to me, it's got 1 million views. And it's a local piece about big houses here in the Naples area. And it just took off. And that's kind of when I realized that geography is where the bulk of my content needs to be. And then you can sprinkle some other stuff in there, but probably 2 or 3 months in until I really figured out, okay, geography is where it's at. That's what I need to focus on.
And I like that because you were aware of your channel, you're keeping an eye on it, which is really important, and figuring out what people are consuming and the type of content. So speaking about the content, because I want this training to be really useful for people watching this. So talking about the type of content that you were sharing, can we talk a little bit about the length? So how I've noticed a few types. You had some that were a couple of seconds, that were over a minute. So can you give us a little bit of insights into why the length that they are? Because there are a lot of them that are very similar in length.
Yeah. So TikTok, by its nature, is a short form platform. Like YouTube is long form. You can go as long as you want. And even it has some time constraints where videos will do better and worse depending on how long you make them. But in TikTok, you can do a 15-second video. You can do a 60-second video up to 3 minutes. And some people now even have a 10-minute option, which I do not recommend. Don't be messing around with that if you have it. I don't know if I've even ever made a 3-minute video, because people's attention span on this app is so short. They're scrolling on to the next thing the second they get bored. So I try to keep my stuff between like 1.5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes if I got a lot to say. And some of them are super short. If it's like a duet with your side by side, that might be just 15, 20 seconds. But I think shorter is better, and keep it concise and digestible material that people can just see, get the information, move on.
Awesome. And in terms of what you're posting, you touched on a little bit again about that geography, but some of your contents that are entertaining and are informative are also about real estate and property, and like you talked about, inspection. So where are you getting this content from, and what do you think from your experience that really worked in terms of a variety that you can kind of touch upon so that people can kind of jot down some ideas of content?
So content is everywhere. It's all around. And all you have to do is open your eyes and be constantly thinking, what can I do? I mean, here I am at a restaurant. Maybe this might make some good content. I'm at one of our favorite restaurants, the Blue Dog Grill, that video you showed, that's actually owned by a friend of mine. And we happened to be there having dinner. I said, you know what? This is a place that people need to know about. And so I quickly, as we were on the way out, I shot some video, and that was it. And when I got home, I put some voice behind it, and it made great content. But if you're just keeping your eyes open for things that are in your community that you think might be interesting to people, it doesn't have to be super complicated. I mean, that was a pretty easy video to do. You just keep your eyes open and always be thinking of what might people be entertained by. And then once you do that and you start making a few videos, you have to kind of keep an eye on what people are enjoying and what's getting a reaction. because at some point you need to start shifting your focus from the videos that you want to make to the videos that your audience wants to see. You know, I do a combination of both. I do make videos about what I know my audience wants to see, but I also do things that I want to do as well. And they don't get the most views, but it's still stuff that's enjoyable for me to do. But yes, definitely keep an eye on what your audience wants and start making more of those videos.
I love that. And one of the things that a lot of us forget too is that us living in our community, for you, you're the perfect person to talk about Cape Coral because you were a firefighter, you drove around, you know the area inside and out. And even for a lot of you that are living in your own community, make sure that anything that you're enjoying, if you go to a crepe place down the road, that's content. If you happen to get even a drink at a Starbucks near your area, that's still content, you know? And I think that we often forget that our way, our lifestyle, we think everything has to be real estate and, you know, properties. And we forget that we're actually selling a lifestyle, right? Talk about schools, talk about what it's like to, and that's why if you go on my social media, and you'll know that I'm a mom, that I live in downtown Toronto, I live by the water. And that's content that people actually direct message me asking me, oh, what is it like having little children right in the middle of downtown by the water, you know, and living in a condo, right? And I think that the more you share, people will become relatable. And I think that's what Ken is trying to allude to too, is that the more that you can provide value, but also relate to people. And I think that's bingo. And this is where you build that rapport of getting to know people from a know, like, trust factor. I love that. And I love how you label your videos kind of to the point, sweet. And some of them are so short too. And how do you determine how to title the video and the keywords that you're using, because they're so short? Because one thing about TikTok that is so different than a lot of other platforms, you know, for Instagram and Facebook in general, we write big caption for keywords, right? It's an SEO function. So why TikTok you keep it so short? And it's just really good. It's working. That's why I wanted to ask.
That was a tip I picked up from somebody online you know, first of all, you got to realize when people are searching TikTok, their main source of finding content is just through scrolling. They're not usually going to someone's profile page and looking through their stuff. And unless, you know, they get curious about who you are, they'll click on your link and they'll see your stuff. That's where they're going to see your titles. And you want to keep things short and keep the curiosity high. I don't necessarily need to give away everything about the video in the title. So it may even be something as short as what, you know, something like that. And, you know, that might grab you, a watch or a view. So I try to keep them as concise and build a little curiosity inside those titles.
Yeah, and even the we'll call it like thumbnails, the way you label, because sometimes people
That's
are
what
visual.
I was talking about. Yeah.
Perfect. That's what. Okay. And what about even the caption that you're writing as well? The length of the caption is also so short. So, can you give us a little bit of insight into that too?
Really, that's really just kind of how do I put it? It's kind of a tactical thing, because when you get so much stuff at the bottom, you've got the name of the hashtags in there. You don't load up with 10, 12 hashtags. It starts obscuring your picture. And then you've got the little thing that tells you where you're at, and then the captions, and it all starts building up. So I just try to keep my descriptions really short, so I can kind of bring down the stack of stuff that's at the bottom of the screen.
Got it. That's great from a technical perspective. And the reason also why I showed your videos prior to getting started is for people to visually see them. But the use of the way that you start off your video, you give a little a sneak peek, like the word hook. I want to talk a little bit about that. You give a little sneak peek to what the video is going to be. You even tell people, wait to the end to find this out. A little, surprise at the end. Why do you do that? Can you talk a little bit about the hook in terms of, I know you talk a lot about this when you did a presentation for our group and you got into a little bit of insights around this, and I loved hearing it, and I would love for you to share with the people here with us today.
Sure. So the hook, you'll hear that in most kind of video creation platform or circles. But the hook is what you use to draw in your viewer, to what makes them stop that thumb scroll. And when you have to have something short, it's got to be in the first 2-3 seconds of the video that's going to make them stop and continue watching. So that's what the hook does. And there's a whole list of them. You can go on just Google, TikTok hooks, and you'll find a whole bunch of them. And you just have to choose what you think is going to work for you on that particular video. And I don't do it all the time, but I always try and get some kind of a hook in there that's going to be curious. I did one this morning about a house that sold here in our Southwest Florida area. It broke a record for the sales. It was like $62 million, and that was my hook. This was the most expensive home sold in Southwest Florida, record-breaking home. Something like it. It was very quick, but it might get somebody to stop and listen to the rest of the video. Then. And these are two of the metrics that TikTok goes by is, how many views and watch time. Just like YouTube, they want you to watch the full video and they want you to stay on platform. They don't want you clicking off somewhere else. So somewhere in the middle of the video, I'll usually say, hold on, watch till the end because such and such a thing. And I did that in this video. Somewhere toward the first third of the video, I said, and watch till the end because I'm going to tell you who owns this house. So, and that way you keep them on that video until the end because TikTok is they put such a big focus on watch time.
That's great. And I actually, to put that into context, at the end of our training today, I'll actually show that video to people so that they can actually see it. I loved it, and I love the visual that you were using too. Because now when you said watch who owns this picture, and then when I saw that property, I really wanted to know. So I watched the whole thing, right? So you did exactly what you meant to do. I'm going to pass this on to Kyle because I know he has a bunch of questions for you as well, so that he can continue to ask about your content. So go ahead, Kyle.
Sure thing.
Yeah,
hey,
absolutely. Yeah, that's great info already, Ken. One of my questions is you talked a lot about all the different types of content that you make, but I know one of the most frequently asked questions we get about TikTok is how often should you actually be posting per day?
So good question. So when you're starting out, the more frequently you can do it, the better. And in the beginning, I would sometimes post 3 times a day. And that sounds like a lot, and it can be a lot, but not every video has to be this huge involved process. Even some of my most involved videos will take maybe 30, 40 minutes to produce, from setting the outline to grabbing the images to setting it up, and formatting it all to recording it. And it's not that long a process. But even some of the easier videos to make are like a duet. You can find somebody that's talking about something that you have an interest in. And it could be as simple as you and the other person face to face, and you could just be shaking your head and pointing. I mean, it's that simple. So not everything has to be, this big drawn out process to make a video. So you can, if you can try to get 3 a day in the beginning while you're trying to build, that's a good starting point. Now these days, I might post once a day, maybe twice a day. But the more you can post in the beginning, the better off you're going to do.
That makes sense. Seems like TikTok is definitely a volume platform where you can post a lot and it'll spread everything out to your potential audience. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you is about when you're actually posting this content, again, when it comes to all the different types of content, is there a certain content you found that is a little bit better for views and likes? And then there's other content that's better for lead generation, but doesn't maybe get you quite as much views or likes, or do you find they kind of go hand in hand?
I think it's kind of, they walk side by side, and it's just kind of logical to think that the more views that your video gets, the more likely it is you're going to get leads out of it because it's more eyeballs on you. And speaking about eyeballs on you, there's a little statistic I want to give you here because this blew my mind the first time I did these numbers for myself. That video I was talking about just a minute ago that had 1 million views. Now, not everybody gets 1 million views, and I only have one that's gotten that high. But just to give you an example, 1 million views at this point, and I just checked these numbers, works out to 11,775 watch time hours, right? If you break that down into days, 11,775 equals 490 days of somebody watching you on your channel, listening to what you want them to hear. That is for free. I've paid nothing for any of this. And yet I have exposure that amounts to 500 days of constant watch time. That's one video. Now, let's take that back a step and go, just take it away from 1 million views, because that's like it's a huge milestone. Take that to a 10,000 view video. That's 109 watch hours. That's still 4.5 days of people watching your video with eyeballs on you, listening to what you want to hear, that you want to say, So it's really incredible the reach you can generate through these TikTok videos.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the reasons why social media is so powerful, is just because, you can literally be working with the client while your video is about generating views, watch time, getting people in front of your business, which is absolutely incredible. And that's insane. Real quick question for you, Ken. How long did it actually take you to make that video that got 1 million views?
Maybe 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Between getting the idea and then, grabbing some photos off the internet. I use Google Earth a lot for the green screens that I do behind me. I'll just go to Google Earth on my phone, take a screenshot of it, and I'll use that for the green screen. You can point to it, and it's super easy. And then just kind of scripting out, making a little outline what I'm going to say. I rarely use a script. I think it sounds forced. So even with all the ums and ahs that I tend to do, something I've been trying desperately to get rid of over the years, but I just can't break it. But it makes you sound like a human, and not like a newscaster.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. 30 minutes to get 500 hours worth of watch time. That's insane.
500 days.
500 days,
not hours.
Okay, it's even more insane. So there you go. For those of you that are, still on the fence on TikTok, if that doesn't tell you to get on TikTok today, I'm not sure what does. But we have a couple more questions for you, Ken. When it comes to, I know Starmella showed us actually in the beginning, one of the videos where you took a comment and replied to the comment to give them some further information. What do you find with those type of videos? Are those videos that you do a lot to sort of engage your comment section? Is this just something that you provide sort of like easier content, or what's your idea on the comment style videos?
It's just another way of generating more content. They don't get a ton of views. They're not, because it's very specific. It's an answer to one person. Unless that question applies to many, many people who might be asking the same thing, like the Matt Lachey video. That was pretty specific. Not a lot of people are going to be wondering, how do you pronounce this word? I doubt too many people really care. But it was a quick video that I could make, and it was just something else I could throw up there, and it answered one user's question, and maybe it generated a little discussion in the comments. But not every video is going to be a home run. Some of them are just to fill space and make some more content.
Makes sense. And when you're, I guess just the last question I had for you, Ken, before we turn to some of the Q&A here, is just what would your advice be to somebody who's never been on TikTok before, maybe not so comfortable in front of video? What would be your biggest tips you can give them to start on TikTok and start this journey of actually generating leads and generating business by leveraging this platform?
Good question, and I'm glad you asked, because my advice is coming from this is not a quote from me. This is, if any of you have watched Sean Cannell, he's a giant YouTube creator, and he gives a lot of advice on YouTube. And his advice is just press record. It's that simple. You have to get started. And your first videos, I just did a TikTok on this. Your first videos, they're going to be messy. They're not going to be great, but you have to make crappy videos before you can make good videos. And you just have to practice. Your first set of maybe 10, 15, 20 videos are not going to be that great. They're not going to be home runs. Mine are still not that great. I still consider myself to be in the crappy video category. So, but you just got to do it. It's just the way it's the way you got to get started. So you got to get over that fear of being in front of the camera and messing up your words. If you don't say it right, start over, say it again. I do that constantly. But it's a process, and the more you do it, the better you're going to get. But just press record, like Sean Cannell says.
I can't agree more with that.
Absolutely.
I think, yeah. Sorry, Kyle, go ahead. Do you want to finish? Do you have any other questions?
No, I was gonna say, sorry, I think there's just a little bit of connection issue here. So if I'm cutting you off, I apologize. But I was just gonna say that, Ken, that's something we actually talk about a lot in our group. It's always better for, imperfect action is always better than perfect inaction. So just getting started, you're gonna make some mistakes, and then going from there, you'll learn to improve, so you can actually get to the point where you are. If you never made those first videos, you never be at the point now where you're able to generate so many leads and so many views from your content.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, and every beginner, every expert was once a beginner, right? We often think that we have to make these perfect content, or people aren't going to take us seriously. And I've created over 100 YouTube videos, and I feel the same way as you do. Every time I look at my video, I'm like, oh gosh, like I need to. What am I doing, right? And but the people that are watching your content, the people that come to love your content, prove me otherwise. And I think, and speaking of comment section, actually, I love your I know that's another topic on its own. If you don't mind, can you just touch upon, I don't want people to be derailed by that. People get so discouraged by other people's words and all the haters that are, that'll come to observe and consume your content, but aren't there to really take it in the way that you want them to. Can you touch upon some of that experience as well? Because I don't want to present all the peachy side of being on TikTok,
Yeah, that's one thing they don't tell you when you start out being a TikTok creator, is that nobody talks about the comment section. And the comment section on TikTok is known to be a fairly toxic place. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's just the freedom of being able to say what you want without really too much repercussion. But as you start to grow your channel and you start to get more views and you get bigger, you're going to get hate comments. It's just part of life on TikTok. And you can't let that scare you away. You have to deal with it, let it roll off your back. I used to go in there and, I might make a snarky comment to a hater comment. And I still might from time to time, but for the large part, you just ignore it. Unless it's something terribly offensive or racial or something that's really, really bad, I'll delete those altogether and I'll block the user. But generally I'll just leave it, I'll ignore it, I won't respond to it, because they're looking for a reaction from you. You're the creator, you're the one that's got all the followers. They're trying to get a reaction out of you. So the best response is no response, and just let it go. And you might even get some more engagement from the people in the comments who start arguing with that person. So I just think you don't let the negativity that shows up in the comments section scare you away. It's not that big a deal.
Great point. And I'm not sure if any of you noticed this, but as we were asking Ken questions, he kept bringing up a lot of different features that are available, like the green screen. And Ken, feel free to add to this. Folks, make sure when you're on TikTok, you're using the features that are available through TikTok. I know it doesn't look fancy and some of them look super tacky, but that's what it's meant for. The more organic your content is, using the existing features available within the platform, that's going to help the algorithm. They're going to push it to more content. I'm the opposite of this. TikTok is not my lead generation platform. However, I am on TikTok where I repurpose my long form content on there. I'm not doing it the right way, hence my viewership is down. But for me, I'd rather get 100 views than 0 views, right? That's like 100 door knocks. So I think, but at the end of the day, that's why I really wanted people to listen to this, to Ken's way of working, because it's organic, it was done well, it's using existing, he's not going into Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere making these lavish videos. You see 30 minutes and sometimes less, right? Sometimes you just grab the phone and you talk about something you already know because you live in the area, and then you're able to generate leads. But while you touch upon the features, if you can end the call with and of course before we take on questions, if you can touch upon the type of business you're getting to. I would love for people to sometimes you will message me and say, you won't believe I got this client from TikTok. And it blows my mind. I would love for people to know some of the stuff that you're sharing. Of course, we see how credible it is from the people that are following you and the interaction that you're getting, but I want to just drive this home by the type of not just leads but clients that you get, and how this is your number one prospecting lead generation tool that you're using primarily for your business right now.
Yes. So TikTok is, first of all, I have never knocked on a door. I have never made a cold call. I knew coming into this business that I was not going to be doing that. It's just, I don't have the stomach for it. It's a great system if you can make it work, and people have great success with it. But I know who I am, and I know what I will and won't do, and that just wasn't going to be in the cards for me. So I had to find something else, and I knew it would be social media of one type or another, and this worked. So as far as coming up with the leads in the business, I have actually 2 under contract right now that reached out to me through TikTok. And both of these have been fairly long-term, relationships that I've had. We've been looking at houses. They've traveled from the other coast, from Florida, to come look at homes here in Cape Coral with me. One guy has come all the way from Maryland. We just put a contract in on a house here locally. But another lead, and I have a list of leads that I've gotten. It's all in the follow-up, whether you continue to cultivate that relationship. But people do reach out once they feel comfortable with you. I will get phone calls. Hey, I saw you on TikTok. I have a question for you, or can you tell me about this? Or I'd like to buy a house. It happens, and it doesn't take long. But one of the most impressive ones I got was a woman. This came in as a comment. I have. If you know anything about Southwest Florida, there's a set of barrier islands off the coast, Sanibel and Captiva. They're very pricey, multi-million-dollar homes out there. And one of the comments came in and said, I have 3 homes on Captiva Island that I'd like to sell and buy something else on the beach. And I thought, this is crap. This is just a troll comment, And so I just kind of gave her my phone number in the comments or maybe DM'd her and let it go. Like a month later, I get a call on my cell phone with a voicemail. Hey, this is so-and-so. I messaged you on TikTok the other day, last month, about my properties on Captiva. My mouth dropped open. And these are properties that are between 5 and probably 15 or $20 million, 3 of them. So we're still in the discussion phase of that, but that is what is possible to come out of a simple app like TikTok. And anyone that tells you that social media does not work, because there's a lot of them, they will tell you that social media is not a valid method of generating business for real estate. All you got to do is go back and look at Soom and Kim. $100 million in production in his first 20 months in real estate through YouTube. It is definitely possible. So don't ever let anybody tell you that it's not.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something useful. If you're interested in partnering with our record-breaking organization, the Wolfpack, here at eXp Realty, completely for free, just click the link that's in the pinned comment. We can set up a time to talk, and we can see whether or not we'd be a good fit for each other. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, click the like button down below, and make sure to subscribe. We're going to be posting videos like this on the channel every single week. And be sure to join the Facebook page. The link is in the top of the description. It's also in the pinned comment. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.